Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the No Laying Up podcast. Soly here. Got my guy, Mr. TC. A lot to talk about tonight, TC. How are you?
I'm good. I'm exhausted. I was doing the rhino jive all day, Soly.
Another guy that I know was rhino jiving throughout the weekend, Mr. Big Randy is here. Hello, Big.
Hello, guys. Yeah, a little tired. Made a quick trip back to Philly, back to Denver. TC, we missed you there.
I know. I'm sorry.
Got to watch a lot of golf today and excited to talk to you. Thanks for having me on, Soly.
We have a lot to discuss. We got the Valspar. That's not going to take a lot of time, guys. That was not the best weekend of golf that I've ever watched on the PGA Tour. We're going to do a quick Masters power ranking stock watch. We're inching up on the Masters. There's going to be plenty of content to come from that one, but I'm curious for a question I have posed to you guys. Talk about Brooks Koepka's recent form ahead of this major championship that's coming up as well. We're just getting that out of the way, make sure it's mentioned so he doesn't sneak up on us. Some other tour odds and ends. Really nice week on the LPGA Tour at the Founders. A little question in there about what we'd like to see next out of the LPGA Tour. LIV South Africa, Bryson, a lot of commentary coming from that side of the world this week and a lot more as well. Winners from around the world. Matt Fitzpatrick wins the Valspar. Jordan Gumberg wins the Hanan Classic. Bryson wins in South Africa. The Crushers win the team section. Hyo-Jun Kim wins the Fortinet Founders Cup. Hannah Green wins the Women's Australian PGA. Maddie McCrary wins the Orlando Health Championship. A lot of golf to cover this week.
A lot of golf. What about China? Too. It was the what about China?
There's a lot going on in the DP World Tour this week, too.
Amen. So, you know what else has a lot going on? Titleist Socials just dropped the new GTS drivers. They are out on their socials, and they will be launching on tour this week as well. So I'll be very curious to see who throws that in the bag. They've been on a run with the GT driver here of late, Cam Young, just last week. So
that's right. He hit the 375-yard drive, of course, with the GT. This is the first look at the new GTS2, GTS3, and GTS4 models that are debuting PGA Tour, LPGA, and Korn Ferry Tour. Listen, they market a lot of products through us, a lot of products, but every once in a while, they'll kind of pull you aside and be like, this one. All right, this is one we're really, really excited about. And we haven't touched it, haven't hit it, haven't seen it. But the buzz internally, I know, at Titleist is really, really high on this driver. And they've never led us astray on any of that. The things they've been most excited about ended up being a lot of our favorites. So Titleist continues to be the most played driver on the PGA Tour. Every player in the top three at the Valspar was playing a GT driver. And again, still only a week removed from that Cam Young drive at TPC Sawgrass. It is time for GTS. It's going to be a fun week, so stay tuned to Titleist social channels for a lot more information about this big driver rollout that they have coming. At the Valspar, Sungjae Im took a 2-shot lead into the final round over Brandt Snedeker and David Lipsky. Sungjae stunk today. It was really not good. 3 over 74 was not a factor. Snedeker shot 76, fell off the pace, but it was Matt Fitzpatrick continuing his steady play, made clutch birdie putts on the 15th and the 18th to eke out David Lipsky by a single shot. Happy for Fitz. After all the hooliganism last week, TC, which I know made you sick to your stomach, and you were not partaking in there down the final stretch at the Players, but happy for Fitz to get back in the winner's circle. He looked like he had a lot of angst built up in that putt that he drained on 18.
Really remarkable. Went bogey free over the last 2 rounds, the whole weekend. Birdied 18, awesome birdie on 18, awesome birdie on 15. That course was baked out by the end of the day today. And I don't know, Valspar, it wasn't an enjoyable tournament. It wasn't a good leaderboard, but I love that golf course, man.
There's always something there, TC. I'm totally with you. There's something there that just makes it a little interesting.
It's just in these guys' heads, like that par 5. Was it the 5th hole? Snedeker hit a kind of a just snap hook 3-wood off the tee there today. Guys trying to force it up by the green, punching out, all sorts of just the Larry Packard double dog leg on that one on 14. So just some awkward holes coming down the stretch. Tough to hold greens. Just a bizarre. I've played it one time and I really enjoyed it. Neil and I played it, and by all accounts, the other course over there, the island course, is supposed to be electric as well. But it's just the right amount of scruffy and burned out and kind of shoulder season down there. And I don't know. I think one of these years we're going to get a really fascinating tournament. I thought JT was going to win this week. He didn't. I think he finished in the 30s. But Fitz, awesome victory. He showed a lot of grit coming back after last week.
I'm with you. I don't think I love the golf course as much as you do. Like, I think it's good, solid. I like kind of the small greens, small corners of the greens that make it just, it's a good, 11 under par one without conditions. Like, that doesn't happen very frequently on the PGA Tour. It's usually a dart fest. I just was not feeling the Valspar this week. It was just not a good watch. I'd struggled to keep my attention. I just got to put my hand up when it's time for that. And I was very uninvested with who was going to win it until Fitz emerged. I was like, all right, I want Fitz to win this, man. Yeah. With what happened last week and just how strong his play has been over the last year plus and everything. Just felt like he should have more PGA Tour wins on his resume, and this felt like a proper win for him.
It was his second PGA Tour win if you set aside the U.S. Open. Meanwhile, he's won four or five different Masters events: the Nordea Masters, the Andalusia Masters, the European Masters twice, the British Masters, all of that. But this is only his second one here in Harbortown. So he's just stacking up, just very Midwestern vacation spots. Yeah.
And he put your boy on the clock today. He tattled on your boy ADDC.
No longer my boy. No longer my boy. I've repudiated ADDC, and I apologize to anyone and everyone for ever having been associated with him.
For those that missed it, they were playing together. He had fallen way off. Adrian had fallen way off the pace, and he was taking at times 3 minutes to play shots. Fitz just went up ahead. He pulled almost a Ben Crane or a Rory Sabatini Ben Crane situation where he was up at the green and he was putting out by the time that ADDC had hit his shot back in the fairway. So good on him. I think this is totally it shouldn't be up to him to do. I think the group were they a hole behind at a certain point, or they had fallen far enough behind that I don't know why they weren't have been told that they were out of position. But I think a warning at least went out to ADDC after that happened. Just rarely do you see a player be such an alpha in that moment. Like, dude, I'm trying to win this tournament. Like, let's go, dude. Come on. We're not doing this here.
Okay, I'm not going to do the pace of play stuff. TC, if you want to do that in just a second, please feel free. I just wanted to jump in here and talk about, I think, why this tournament always outpunches what it is in my mind. And TC, I truly think this goes back to when you and I were out west in 2007, just watching golf and going skiing and generally being shitheads. But that was when the joke of John Senden, I finished back-to-back runner-up, and then he would eventually win the tournament. But Soly, to your point, it's always been a little bit weirdly difficult of a course. And I'm not smart enough to tell you exactly why that is. But from when I was paying attention, I referenced that 2007 tournament. Calc won at 10 under. The very next year, Sean O'Hare won at 4 under in a regular tour event. That's amazing. The year after that, Goosen at 8 under. And really up until COVID, we haven't seen a single digit under par winner since COVID. But before that, it'd be 7, 8 under might win this tournament. And I think for me, it's always just been a change of pace from what I'm used to seeing maybe week to week on the tour. And I do slot it mentally, which is ironic given Fitz won at Harbortown and has now won here. But I kind of slot it with Harbortown in those courses that, for whatever reason, they just stand out as kind of different than what a lot of the rest of the schedule is every year. And so
it's technical.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of spots. It starts on 1. There's a lot of spots where there's just weird angles, and it takes driver out of guys' hands, or the way that the green is angled, it makes the green effectively 8 paces deep, right. 9 paces deep. And
when it gets firm, you can't stop it in these corners.
I was going to say they generally do a good job of having it firm, and it's the ball runs. And then the rough can be a little, it can be a little thick, and if the wind gets up, it can combine a lot of. I love TC. I think that's exactly right. It just presents like a little bit of a different challenge to these guys, and I do enjoy that.
It's such a good piece of land too. I think if you dropped anybody who had never been there, had never heard of it on that piece of land, they would not guess that they were in Florida.
Right.
That would be the 20th guess as far as
Yeah.
what state they were in. And I think it's probably a better watch on Thursday and Friday than it is on like a Saturday. I don't know. I watched a lot of Spieth round today and I was like, man, Spieth is back, man. This is sick. And then he promptly gets to the snake pit or whatever they call it, and just immediately just fans one. What hole was that? That was 16. Yeah, just fans one, fans at 3-wood, 40 yards into the lake. I mean, not even fucking close.
Nobody is close. Come on, DC's close.
I think his close is hole by hole. It's not week to week. It's truly hole by hole that he's close for.
And then Jordan Smith is up on the leaderboard, and it gives me false hope every time he's up there because I see Jordan S, and then I'm like, oh no, it's Jordan Smith, not Jordan Spieth.
Going to be an obvious answer here as I ask it. Who do you think had more birdies this week, Spieth or the winner, Matt Fitzpatrick?
Probably Spieth.
Yeah, I mean, I would take Spieth. Yeah,
definitely. He had 16 birdies. Fitz had 15 birdies, but
that's
10
the
bogeys
thing,
in the double.
Fitz had what, 4 bogeys all week?
Yeah,
which is crazy out there. He was 5th in strokes gained off the tee, 2nd in approach play, 42nd in putting.
Yeah,
it's not very often that the guy who wins finishes 42nd in putting. Pretty neutral.
I hope as I go to say this, I'm going to check to make sure it's true. But you always do just think Fitz is such a good putter. He is a pretty good putter. He's just not having a good start to the season putting it so far, but he's hitting the crap out of the ball right now is what has been, quite surprising. But yeah, this I weirdly with Spieth, this was I didn't stress about it at all this week. I was just kind of like, oh, he's good. Oh, he's hot. I looked up in the early morning round, whatever, when he started on Thursday, or what was he morning or afternoon? I forget. And he was 400 through 5. And I was like, can't wait to see what happens next, but had a very strong, even Tour Socials, had something up there, Spieth goes to 500, and then quote tweeted just he finished at -2. I think they're in on the bit now at this point.
It was stuff that shouldn't happen. He had a putt to go to 6 under through however many holes, and then he goes to -2. You're like, what the fuck, man? It's maddening, but I love it, and I can't get enough of it. So,
I'll just point out Fitz, obviously playing well, but I mean, he shot a 70 in the opening round of the Players last week, and since then he's been 69 or 68 for 77 consecutive rounds. The guy's just playing really steadily good golf. It's not like he's thrown in a 63 and then a 72. It's just very consistently good.
Is Fitz on great man trajectory?
You guys hand these things out like candy on Halloween. So, I mean,
in 10 years.
He's got a chance because I think he's going to be a part of a lot of European Ryder Cup teams. So he certainly has a chance.
And he'll probably be a great captain.
See, this is why you guys have been giving me shit privately all week, basically all months about my dude system here. But you guys are just
calling him a dude.
You guys no, but I'm saying you give your little bits. You give stuff out too easily, too fast, too quick. And you can't reel it in. That's the whole point of the dude system is this is
we're talking about a 10-year great man trajectory.
Every European Ryder Cupper is now referred to as a great man. All right. You guys have not been able to control yourselves.
No, there were a lot of great men last year, Soly. That was not the bit getting out of control. That was just reality.
Fitz was the only guy in the field this week, all 4 rounds in the 60s.
That's sick. I love it.
Right?
Are you going to call him a great man?
No.
Okay. All right.
No,
okay.
No.
Any more down the leaderboard you want to give us, TC?
Xander shot 65 today for a totally non-competitive T4.
Remind you of anybody you know?
No, not at all. Marco Penge shot 71. I was expecting him to kind of go and grab this thing. Good shot into 18 there at the finale, but just missed his spot by a foot or two on some of those holes coming down the stretch. Pretty
Can I ask
pretty
something on
gritty
Marco?
though.
Can
Yeah.
I ask something on dear Marco? I think it was Hicks today said this guy's like got superstar, or he's got the makings of being a star. And listen, I'm not saying that's wrong. I guess I'm coming to you guys. Did I just totally miss something? I know I was on paternity leave. Like, it has not come across my desk that Marco Penge is necessarily ticketed for stardom. I was just taken aback by that comment.
I think Hicks knew nobody was watching today. It's like, we could throw that in there.
I mean, he won 2 national opens last year. He won the Danish and the what else did he win? The Open de España, the Spanish Open, and then he won the What About China last year as well. So I don't know. I don't think Penn he's really facey. I talked to him at the first timers press conference at the Players. He's really into fashion.
Okay.
He's long. He's got a lot in the tank. I think he just needs to figure out how to dump some of that speed. But I think the ceiling is there, Randy.
Okay.
We'll see how long he can sustain this. He's up to 39th in the world.
Okay. Honestly, he's an interesting guy. I just when Hicks said that, I was like, holy shit! If I like just like missed something completely. So
he's a great interview too, Rady. Like, he's a very likable guy. I'm Team Penge, and he is like he's not a ball speed imposter, but he's a ball speed freak. I'm not positive how well refined the rest of his game is. Like, I didn't think Valspar was jumping off the page in terms of great locations for him to compete, but he just had a kid a couple weeks ago as well. And he's just getting back into things, and to see him back playing this well that fast is I'm Team Penge. I don't think he's on superstar watch, but I think he's like potential fringe Ryder Cupper. I think that's a possibility.
I mean, was last year.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, we're talking.
Randy, you did miss when you were out. He didn't get into several clubs down in the Jupiter Palm Beach area because he refused, because he was wearing athletic shorts. Like, he refused to dress up for the interview.
I'm out on him then.
Which I
respect that for the interview. Sorry, I thought it was while he was playing. I thought you were going to say while he was playing. I take it back.
No, he's just not putting on airs. He just doesn't. He's won the Sunningdale foursomes with his wife before, which I think is a pretty cool feather in his cap.
That is cool.
His strokes gain. I'm looking at his PGA Tour stats, the stroke gain little chart, and it's like essentially like an arrow pointing to off the tee, and everything else is very in close.
As I said, I don't know if he's not a ball speed imposter. I don't know what is, because it's not looking great. But I believe he can emerge from the group of ball speed. Imposter's not the right word for him. I think he's a little different than like a pot heater. I think he's a more real golfer than like the current form of Aldrich Potgieter.
He showed a lot today. Like, he was grinding, and he was getting up and down from some tough spots today. So
he's got my attention. Yeah, I appreciate that. TC, keep going down the leaderboard for us.
The 74 today like doesn't properly capture how bad Sungjae was. I mean, he was awful. He was 5 over through 11 holes, and then
in his defense, every time I looked up to watch the golf today, everybody was just driving it in the crowd and down the cart paths, and this one's headed towards the crowd 4, this one's headed toward, and like half the time it was Sungjae, but it was just some bad golf being played in those final few groups.
A lot of commercials too.
A
lot of commercials. It was like getting waterboarded. We got Cantlay, we got Spieth ended up finishing T11. The Bridgeman T14. He remains first in the FedEx Cup. Wasn't sure if you're aware of that. No. Good finish for Gary Woodland, T14 for him. Corey Connors, very uncompetitive T14, just 69, 70, 71. Soly, sorry about Sneds. I know you were rooting for him to possibly be a playing captain in the President's Cup this year.
You were so excited to make that joke tonight. You were like just frothing to make that joke. I'm sorry for you. The final round 76 just totally ruined that bit that you were going to keep going for weeks probably. But it was random. And it is like, 45-year-old Brandt Snedeker, that I was kind of like, is he still playing? Like, is he still playing? You got a sponsor. I forgot he got a sponsor exemption Memorial last year and finished top 10. But yeah, not a lot of top 10s for Brandt over the last 4 years or so. But that was a signal of like, man, this might just be an off week for the PGA Tour.
I think the system's working though. Like Brooks teed it up, T18, Finau, Tom Kim, JT, Spieth. Like you got a lot of good players teeing up in an event like this, trying to they like the course, and B, they're trying to get points, right? They're trying to play their way into these big events. So
on the back of 2 signature events, like getting the solid field that they got here is impressive. And it's easy for a lot of these guys to take Houston off 2 weeks in front of Augusta. And if you want to play Valero lead into it, you can. But so it does fit in the calendar if you don't want too much off time in front of the Masters. But it's not like the Cognizant, which just gets totally depleted of star power of where it is on the schedule. This is a tough spot on the schedule, but a lot of guys make it work, and that is an endorsement of the golf course.
Yeah. Saw them worried about Luke Clanton, 78, 75. We'll just say that. Cam Davis is really falling off. He was plus 10. Johnny Kiefer, DFL, plus 14
from him. Yeah.
That was kind of a weird one to see. So anyway, I see the rest of my time as far as the Valspar goes.
Well, let's talk a little stock watch here, because there was one player in particular, and we'll talk about him separately here, that piqued my interest on this, and I'm going to explain this. I'll try my best to explain what I'm after with this question. But we got less than 3 weeks until the Masters begins. I want to know who the top 5 are in your Masters power rankings, and I want them listed in order. Like, if you are actually trying to predict the winner and you have 5 picks to do it, we're trying to cover the board. If I can pick the winner and I get 5 picks, what 5 are you taking? And let's say in theory, you get more points if you think Ludwig's going to win and you pick him first, you would get more points for that as a lead into TC's picks here. But I want how would you cover the board? Because you got to leave off some somewhat interesting names. I found this exercise to be a little harder than I thought it would be. But you only get 5 guys.
You're doing it to isolate a Xander conversation.
I don't necessarily think so. I think there's maybe a more interesting name that may not appear on some lists, or maybe it will appear on some lists, but I'm happy to talk about that. But does anybody want to go first on their Masters power rankings as it sits here? If you had to try to guess who's going to win 3 weeks out, you got 5 guys to cover the board. How we doing it?
So I'll go first.
Okay. TC, you go ahead.
I mean, Ludwig. I'm going Ludwig.
I thought you might. Yeah. You think he's more likely to win the Masters than Scotty?
Yes.
Okay.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, please. I want your whole list.
All right. I got Scotty next.
Okay.
I've got Bryson.
Wait.
After that,
wouldn't Scotty, or no? Are you going 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
I'm going 1 to 5.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I got Ludwig, Bryson, Scotty.
Wait, who's second? Bryson or Scotty?
Sorry. Ludwig, Scotty, Bryson. I'm gonna go with the great man Team Rose.
Jesus.
I wondered if he might hit the board.
And then I'm going with Links Master Jordan Spieth
over
God. John Rahm.
No Rory either.
No Rory.
Interesting. Randy, I'm very curious your direction.
All right. I guess 1 to 5 here.
Okay.
I got Scotty.
Okay.
This was tough.
Right?
I'm going to take some heat for this one.
Randy's going to go Mickelson.
It is a lefty. I'm putting Akshay at number 2.
God.
Yeah. I'm putting Akshay at number 2. I have Disease X, Xander at 3. I have Rory at 4. Listen, again, this is just trying to cover the board. I think Rory, there are questions about the back. I just need to see it a little bit. But, I think you're here. I put Rahm on 5. I really struggle with this 5. I didn't necessarily want to put Rahm. It felt more like an obligation to put.
What about
Rahm.
Cam Young? Any consideration?
Yes, heavy consideration. Okay. That 4-5 spot. It felt like I needed to have Rory on there, and then it felt like an obligation to put Rahm. I was thinking like I need to have like a live guy here. I didn't want to put Bryson, so I put Rahm. But Cam Young. Consideration. TC honestly thought about Justin Rose for a little bit as well.
Just run through your list again. What's your 5 again, Big?
Scotty, Akshay, Xander, Rory, and Rahm.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, Fitzy now is like, I think that's a name I need to remember here in a few weeks.
Yeah, I'd be interested in. I mean, Fitz's whole thing right now, especially his driving accuracy, and Augusta's just the place where that just doesn't seem to play as much. So, his recent play doesn't, he's taking advantage of a good spot on the calendar for golf course style, I think.
Has he ever played well there?
I can look that up for you.
I think moderately. I guess I'd be shocked if he doesn't have at least one top 10 there, right? Or am I?
Let's see. He has two top 10s. 2023, he was T10, and 2016, he was T7.
Okay.
So not the best course fit for him. I think it's very reasonable to not have Scotty number one, but I still do. I honestly kind of forgot about the back thing. I have Rory too. That one felt a little bit like an obligation. Like I definitely am not feeling Rory the same way I was last year heading into the Masters when I picked him to win. No big deal. Rahm, I'm not moving off that one. I'm not going to forget about Rahm. I still think he has an excellent chance to win. I've got Ludwig at 4. I think there's also an excellent chance that he could win the Masters. And I have Cam Young at 5. I am not going to forget about what we saw there. I'm not going to forget about the leap that he has taken. He has a good track record at the Masters, and I think this is the first time we'll see him playing it with the prototype golf ball that has taken his game to an entirely new level. And I'd be very surprised if he's outside the top 5 at the end of the week. So my list does not include Xander, and my list does not include Bryson. Were the 2 hardest ones to leave off. Mine's pretty chalky as it is. But I did go a little past Xander and Bryson to pick to get Cam on there.
I think if there's first guy out of mine, I think is Chris Gotterup. I think Gotterup is a sneaky great fit for Augusta.
So there's a lot of guys that I think can play I'm expecting Bryson to be in the top 10 at the Masters, but I'm not expecting Bryson to win. I think we saw the approach play by the end of last year's Master. Through 3 rounds, we're like, dude, how is he doing this? Like, he is not, his approach play has been terrible. Like, and he's putting his ass off. He's driving it very, very far. But at some point, you got to get close to the hole and can't rely on this. And that faded really, really hard on that Sunday to the point where I was like, man, unless he's hitting, obviously you can have a great week with the irons and he can hit it a lot better than he did last year. But I can't get that image out of my head of I don't know if you can do that, anything remotely like that for 4 days and win the Masters. Again, I think he'll be top 10, maybe even top 5. But I just am not. I don't see the play this back here in a couple of weeks if he does go on to win, but he would not be in my top 5.
I just think a little bit about I think there's some comps with how Pinehurst played for the U.S. Open a couple of years ago.
I mean, that Pinehurst ended up being as bomber friendly as Wingfoot did. Very different way of getting there, but Augusta does. You got to be long. You should be long at Augusta, but it's not. You can't bypass the approach part of the test with the quadrants they have in those greens, and then the precision that it requires to get in the right spots on those greens for most of the days. So there's some funnel pins, Randy, I know out there, but you just can't bomb it past a lot of trouble at Augusta.
Many people are saying the same thing about Steen City, and he conquered that place this week.
I think you can bomb it past a lot of stuff at Steen City.
Soly, can I double click on how close was Xander to making your top 5? I'm a little surprised he's not. And with that, what would you want to see between now and Masters week?
Xander was close, but again, I'd be surprised if he won. Again, I'd be surprised if he finished 3rd? Absolutely not. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't top 10. I'm looking for a gear to get to win it. And you can debate the Ludwig thing is, after what we just saw with the players, what's the hurry to crown him, a person capable of winning these things. But with the great track record and potential lessons learned and better course fit at Augusta than I would think for the player, than TPC Sawgrass. And I still just not quite. I mean, Xander's returning to a level of play that looks a lot like it looked right before his 2 major win season in 2024, whatever, 18 through 2023, he looks about like this guy. And we saw him contend a lot and not win a lot in a lot of major championships. And I feel like that's kind of closer to what he is right now than the 2024 version. How does that sound?
No, I think that's fair. That's fair.
Who the fuck knows though? Like he could
Yeah.
go out and win it, of course, but I'm not in a rush to take Xander to win the match. Honestly, guys, first draft I did of this, I had Brooks in there because
that was my next question was like, what do you do with somebody like Brooks? I mean, Brooks is 35-1 right now. Akshay is 40-1. Like Brooks is
Can we get right to that before we do that, TC? I want to give a shout out to, of course, the new spring 2026 line is live on hbgolf.com. It's our friends at Holderness Bourne. They got new colors: Nectarine, Dune, Maidstone, Cabernet, Cascade, Tudor. They got great pattern polos. They got its new layering. The new full zip Swenson jacket is absolutely fantastic. It's lightweight, technical, got a 4-way stretch. And now they've got an active wear collection as well. They got their first real gym short, the Saunders short. It's got a phone pocket. They got aeration t-shirts, like Holderness Bourne. It runs the gamut, man. They've got everything. They got new colors as well in the Harwood short. The new swing knit collection this year, like the off-course, like performance button-down fashion, polished look of a dress shirt with the comfort of your favorite polo. It pairs great with chinos, jeans for office days, casual get-togethers, weekend travel. You do not have to dry clean it. That's very important. Easy care. It's got great stretch. It feels like you're wearing pajamas in this thing. And the U.S. Open collection is live online as well. So
I got the Sullivan on right now in I don't know what color this is. Maybe Harbor. It's just a delightful piece I picked up this week.
I love this lightweight pullover that we've got in our shop as well right now from them. But NLU 10 gets you 10% off at hbgolf.com. This is still the only discount code on the market. Go to hbgolf.com, check them out. They got so much great stuff on there. But back to the question of, I think Brooks has played well enough the last couple of weeks that he's not going to sneak up on anyone. Or I guess we've seen this before, where all you need to see is just a little semblance of good play, and then realize maybe like Friday afternoon that Brooks Koepka is one of the greatest major championship players in the history of the game, and definitely in the modern history of the game. Are you buying a potential Masters run for Brooks Koepka? Is he a serious contender to win the Masters? And do you feel differently than you did at the beginning of the year is another question. I know I certainly do.
I'll chime in. I definitely feel differently than I would have back in January. I really like what I've seen. His approach play has been phenomenal. The putting is not great. This week, for instance, if he could figure out the 16th hole on the weekend, he doubled that both Saturday and Sunday. I mean, he's looking at another top 10 this week. I really like where he is in relation to the next 3 weeks in Augusta. To me, though, candidly, he's a guy that, like, if we're talking full faith that he can nab a top 10 at the Masters, but I'm not sure if I would be willing to say, like, I definitely believe he could win it this year. When we were putting together the agenda, Soly, you were asking about, like, do I see him making a major run? I think so. I wish I knew how difficult Augusta was kind of going to play this year. I was thinking more like a U.S. Open or an Open Championship, a more like difficult test if he's, if he can kind of shine through where par is a really good score. But I'm excited. I love having him back and like a part of these events. I didn't realize, I guess, how much I missed him being in the fold.
I just don't think his putting is good enough. Like that's what concerns me. He seems good enough tee to green. Like Randy, I would feel better about him at Shinnecock.
Yeah,
somewhere like
I kind
that.
of do too.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think Brooks is like a really interesting. Like, would you rather have Brooks or Bob McIntyre, or Brooks or Goddard, or Brooks or Jacob Bridgman or Mav McNeely? Like, I don't know. It's a total toss up, and I think I'd take those other guys personally at Augusta.
Yeah, but again, this is where like this is the guy that elevates in these 4 events, and like on a week-to-week basis, I'm with you on. I would take all of those guys over Brooks. Like if they were all teamed up in Houston this week, I'd be like, especially Goddard, who was very much looking forward to getting to Houston, as he said in Chasing Sunday. I would agree with that. But then I've been that guy too many times. I'm like, what the fuck? How did we forget about Brooks again? And he's got a good history at Augusta when he's been healthy and when his game's been in decent form. You know, it's not like a tailor-made course for him. I'm with you on like the U.S. Open Classic Brooks setups would be. I'd be more jazzed about it, but it's interesting. And I just did not think we'd be here this soon after, you know, his game was in really, really poor form when he came over. And I'm not looking to pull on any like, oh, now he's practicing because he's back on the PGA Tour moves. I don't think it. I think it's just simply like he's healthy. He's getting some confidence back, and I think he's maybe potentially a little bit more driven than we've seen in recent years.
Yeah, I think all that's fair. It's truly like a who can say. I think I would be more surprised if he won the Masters than I would be if he won even like the Open Championship. Like I think Birkdale fits him to a T. So
a little shocking. I guess I knew he hadn't played necessarily well in majors for a little while, but hasn't top 10 since he won the PGA back in 2023. So I think that's a little bit of it. Soly, for me is like, I just don't know if he can win necessarily like this first major when he's kind of, you know, if we're going to say he's back a little bit. I expect him to have a good week, and I think that could set him up for the remaining majors this year.
I think my point overall is in that time period also, like his game worldwide dipped greatly, you know, and that correlates very strong. Like when he was winning majors and being very good in majors, it wasn't like he was a bad PGA Tour player. He just was not like one of the elite top 5 guys out on tour on a week-to-week basis. And then he began playing bad golf, like straight up bad golf across where he was a below average tour pro for a while there, 24, 25. And, you know, maybe below average tour pro is probably stretching it a little bit, but I'm just saying like just a little tip of the scales, a little bit of forward momentum. It's not hard to imagine that when the golf gets hard and gets real, like the real golf, he has been the dude that rises. And I'm excited to find out now, man. Like you know, we'll see if I was him, I just wouldn't be passing out nearly as much advice at the Masters this year. You know, you might need those strokes at the very end. So
none of us mentioned P.
Yeah.
I mean, P was solo third last year.
That's wild.
Augusta. Like
it's truly out of sight, out of mind for me. And I know that's like a me thing. I can't watch all the golf, so I just have no idea. TC.
I'm disappointed.
I think running roughshod over the DP World Tour and going to win the Masters still are very different categories. So I don't think P is a serious contender.
P 2018 won it. 2019 T36, 2020 T10, 2021
not a real one.
T8, 2022 T35, 2023 T4, T12 in 2024. So I don't know. I think I'm a little bit worried. He's not playing a whole lot right now. He didn't play in China last week. He's not going to India this week. You know,
what's he doing?
T10 in Joburg. I don't know. He's probably down in the lab. He's probably hanging out down at Carlton Woods. At the club.
Open tee times this spring. The course is open.
It probably does just bear mentioning. A Brooks win at Augusta would be an awesome just thing for golf, and that, you know, that would be his 6th major. That would put him back ahead of Rory, kind of set them up for a little back and forth here. Like there are some like really fun storylines,
and he'd be going for the career Grand Slam.
One more guy that's one major away from the Grand Slam. So then it would be. So nobody's penning the Masters. Obviously, Jord is still penning the PGA. Phil with the U.S. Open, of course, and now Scotty with the U.S. Open, and then that would be Brooks with the Open. Almost the full year.
This is a big year for Scotty. A Shinnecock win would be not only for the Grand Slam, but just like go win on a proper course. That would be big for Scotty.
Another thing with the Koepka thing, this year feels a little bit open, like last year did as well with Scotty. Like 2024 did not feel open at all. Last year did feel open because of the ravioli incident, and Rory took advantage of it. And like, I'm curious if somebody can step up and do it, because there's no guarantee that in 27 or 28 that he's going to be in this kind of form leading into the Masters. If we believe this dip to be temporary, I believe his wife was due today as we speak. I don't know there's obviously not been any updates as we're recording this as to when their second child is to be expected. But that does hope if that what I've been told is true on the due date, does eliminate the pager at Augusta possible situation of it sounds like the kid will be here before the Masters. So don't have that completely verified, but that is what
I guess we probably shouldn't bank on him being in Houston, though. Sounds like
he's in the field this week, but you're right. That would be surprising to me either way, unless maybe they have the kid this week and haven't told anyone yet. Also, so who knows? Yeah. So, a couple other news and notes around the PGA Tour. Josh Carpenter had this stats. Players averaged 4.4 million viewers on Sunday, peaked at 7.1 million. That is up from 3.6 million last year. That does not include big data last year. I don't really exactly know how all that works, but seemed like there was a viewership spike, and it did not conclude last year on the Sunday as well. There was a playoff, of course, on Monday. Thursday coverage was up from 644 to 874. Friday coverage up over 1.1, almost 1.2 million average viewers on Friday afternoon, which is up from 747,000 in 2025. So good vibes coming out of Ponte Vedra, I think, helped a little bit last week, honestly, of just good general buzz heading into the players and good setup, good tournament, and then the ratings rewarded it. So
even though the agronomy team over there says they didn't do anything different, it was just because of the dry weather.
This past Tuesday as well, the tour released Chasing Sunday, the video project they were doing with NFL Films. Extremely fast turnaround from the conclusion of play on Sunday to a Tuesday night release. Did you guys get a chance to watch it, and what was your reaction?
I did. I thought it was fantastic, and I think I've said this multiple times now, but it made me just disappointed that how big of a whiff Full Swing has been when they've had so much to work with, so much time to edit it, and that's the product we've gotten. Whereas this is all we were asking for, right? I think they're two different things, but I don't think Full Swing accomplished what it needed to accomplish, and I think this is much more valuable stuff.
I think they thought Full Swing was going to save golf. And I think Full Swing is meant to win like the algorithm and win on people scrolling the Netflix homepage more than it is to cater to golf fans. And that this was a simple thing. Like, this is for golf fans. I mean, it was shared widely across the sports world, and it hasn't done like crazy view numbers. But I think that being a barometer of success for something like this is the wrong way to look at it. It is, you increase the profiles of 4 guys on the PGA Tour that should have their profiles increased. Like, how great was Siwoo Kim in this thing? I mean, the whole, Joe Griner was incredible in this thing.
Joe were awesome.
Was such a good team, and just like I would run through a wall for Joe Griner very clearly. Just listen to his pump up speeches and things like that. Goddard was like, it was an interesting look at a week of a guy that's like just tired, doesn't have it, was low energy, was not feeling it. And like, yeah, you can be on top of the golf world a month earlier, and then you get there and just like have a week where you're off. And even if it's, one of the best tournaments of the year, you're just not in the great headspace. And like, that was documented. Like, that's real. That was great.
I think Goddard too. There was interesting stuff with Goddard, and I think some of that got yanked and sanitized out by the request of his agents, which is a shame because like the whole reason to do this is to
be real,
show the real stuff. And I think Ricky doing it seems like it's probably more of a signal to the other players of like, hey, like, say yes to this stuff, do it. Like, I don't think Ricky's the most interesting guy at this point in his career, but I think it was a good like show face moment for him. And so I don't know. I'd love to see more of these. I thought it was kind of a shot across the bow at both Golf Channel, at PGA Tour Studios, even of like, hey, we had to bring in a non-golf entity because they had the credibility and the chops to do this thing. And yeah, I hope they do I would watch 5 or 6 of these a year. It was awesome. Randy, what do you think?
Yeah, I largely agree with everything you guys have said. I think this captured and held my attention far, 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 far more than the Full Swing stuff. So like right off the bat, I I found this to be much more interesting. And I think it's like almost the worst version of this they could have, not version, but like none of the guys were really in
Yeah.
contention. Like they almost had the worst luck with who they picked this year. And so I think that's a good sign. Like I think it can only get better as you nab a couple guys that might be top 10 or more in contention. I totally agree with you. Like I still, even though Hard Knocks has been around forever, it's still a fabulous, like I still really enjoy watching it. And I just think it's kind of a gold standard. And for them to bring this immediately into golf and to show what they're capable of, I think it's great. I think, like you said, a little bit of a shot across the bow, and kind of makes me wonder, like, what the hell have we been doing all these last several years, guys? So yeah,
I,
I thought it was all good.
I went searching for the first mention in my notes and documents of everything of like when was the first time I said like doing NFL sounds of the game and release it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
2021 was the first year that I found in my notes of like bringing this to the forefront of like,
Not like a radically like
no,
out of left field
Soly,
idea.
I think,
Like that just
yeah, I
seems like
think we
you could
mentioned
do
it
this, guys.
4 or 5 years prior even to that.
I'm
with
sure.
sound effects and like this is all we've been asking for. You don't have
Yeah.
to doll it up. You don't have to overproduce it. Nobody's trying to cancel anyone. Like we just want to see substantive conversations and like really golfy stuff. You
Yeah,
know?
and it is a big project. Like, don't like it's a
Totally.
huge team. If you look at the credits afterwards of like, and be able to turn that around on a Tuesday. I don't want to act like you could do this every single weekend. It's simple. It's not, but you could change the scale and scope of it. Like, if you wanted to do a Saturday version and get somebody in the last two groups at Waste Management and like get get the capture that atmosphere. But you mentioned Hard Knocks, Randy. Hard Knocks does an amazing job of making you invested in characters that you didn't previously care about, like the fight for the 53rd spot on the roster. Like I would lay down my life for that guy. I hope he makes the team. Like 3 weeks later, you kind of forget about the guy, but during the series, you're invested. For a sport that needs to sell their characters, like this is a no-brainer. Like it continuing to invest in stuff like that is going to pay dividends. And we'll get to some of this on the LPGA side too. Like there's just very clear efforts being made to give you reasons to root for these players. Like I followed Siwoo Kim for almost a decade, and I'm like, why don't I root harder for Siwoo Kim? Like that is just such a delightful dude.
Like, I think if Full Swing succeeded at anything, I think it did cross over a little bit and make you root for certain guys if you were a total casual, like a Joel Damon.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. Yeah,
yeah, but I don't know. It just leaves me wanting of like I don't think it had to be an either or, right? Like I don't think it has to be just for the casual non-golf fan or just for the core fans. Like I feel like they've spent the better part of 3 or 4 years filming for Full Swing, and I can't imagine all the good stuff that's just sitting there collecting dust on the cutting room floor. And I know that they filmed it for us for that specific reason, but again, it just feels like, man, like I don't know. I'm just thankful to the tour for finally doing something for core fans
yes,
instead of just dangling shiny objects over to people who don't give a shit about golf. Which I get it. We gotta get them in the boat, but you got to keep some people in the boat too.
yeah. I mean, just thinking like the convo with Joe and Akshay on 17T of just pitching wedge versus 9-iron, and just hearing the back and forth of what that looks like. Imagine that in the final group, if they get one of these in the final group of the players, and like if they had JJ Spawn, his conversation on the Monday playoff last year of we had that, like that just as a clip that's going to live forever, man. Of your one of your core championships. So good on them for that one. You want to run down any other notes here, TC? I know Rory released his champions dinner menu. I know that's got to be had to get. I'm sure you put that under the magnifying glass this week.
A lot of people tagging me in on this. Listen, the wine list is awesome, and props to Rory. He can put what he wants on his menu. I was a little bit disappointed. I'll say I thought the
What had you disappointed? Just not
I don't
adventurous
know.
enough? A little
Yeah,
safe?
I
or
don't know.
what?
Like the mains, I think had me disappointed. Like I don't know. I like the local flavor with the peach and ricotta flatbread, rock shrimp tempura fine, bacon wrapped dates. That was a shout out to his mom. I like that. Grilled elk sliders. I wonder if he served him Scotty style. That's fine. He said he was eating a lot of elk last year. Yellowfin tuna carpaccio. It's a delightful dish, right? That's a Daniel Boulud or whoever up in New York. But then the fillet, that's just where it kind of threw me a little bit of like, I think we can do better. I think we can get a better, more flavorful cut in there. And seared salmon. Like it just, I don't know. I guess it's just a very Irish dish there. I'm sure the Vidalia onion rings will be great. The Irish champ and all of that. And then sticky toffee pudding, always good. Can't go wrong. I know Rory loves Chateau de Cam. Both, he had a great white Burgundy in there, and then a 1990 first growth Bordeaux in the Lafitte Rothschild. So all good. It just feels very, very safe. Randy is all.
Okay.
So, but
I
makes him happy. That's all that matters.
I would happily eat this meal, for the record. I looked at the menu. I was like, that sounds good. I would really enjoy that meal.
Totally. It's solid. Not much lettuce on there. I know that's good.
Good.
But like the people, I just thought that some of the people who were like, this is the best one ever. I'm like, no, this isn't even fucking close. Like,
are you saying people are performative online, TC? No way.
Hideki, Rahm. I mean, Immelman. Like there's been some really good ones.
Randy, I put this in here for you. The TGL Championship, is this coming? I didn't realize it's a best of 3. It is Monday and Tuesday. My vaunted Jupe Links Golf Club. You cannot kill them.
You didn't realize the finals formats, Holly? What's wrong? I thought
it's a double header on Tuesday.
Well, if it goes to a game 3, if game 3 is a double header on Tuesday, but Jupe pulled off the upset of Boston Common on Tuesday. Rory stunk. He was really bad. I did not think
Rory
they had
didn't
a
want to play the triple header or whatever.
He might have been taking a little bit of a dive. We do lose Akshay to the Hero Indian Open. And that means Kiz will be back for the championship. So I don't feel great about our chances, but hey, chip in a chair, man. We just cannot kill these guys. It was entertaining again, man. It really was. Once they got hot, and the hammer strategy with like your season on the line at the very end. Randy, I know it's not for you. I'm doing what I said I would never do, which is try to convince anyone that it's worth watching. But there's been a couple weird like payoff moments late in the season. So I don't.
I'm happy for you, Soly.
Thank you.
I'm happy for you.
It's been Randy. I mean, they're clearly like putting their thumb on the scale as far. All right, Soly, did you see the ball hop out of the bunker too?
Listen, that's my biggest beef with the whole thing is how bad how bad the gameplay is. I will continue to say that. It just looks like, and I swear I've played Nintendo 64 games that have like better looking screen and gameplay, and like like the ball is like dimpleless, and there's grandstands without people in it. Like it looks terrible, and they did not improve that part of it. And I think they got to get that right. They got to fix the delay from the ball hitting the screen and get going. And it's not perfect, Randy. I'd never said it was. Okay, so don't you put those words in my mouth.
LAGC is currently minus 140 to win. Jupe Links plus 120.
Again, if you're betting on TGL stuff, just call the hotline. Just do it.
Is Tommy gonna play?
Tommy's in the lineup. Yes.
So Tommy, Sahith, and I'm assuming Team Rose.
I believe that to be the case.
Because Colin's banged up. He's locked up.
He's locked up. Yes, it is official lineup. I have it here. Rose, Tommy, and Sahith. That's right. Against Max, Tom Kim, and Kisner. So there was an article that was going around a little bit on the webs this week, a Money in Sport article, diving into the PGA Tour kind of financial situation. I'll just read the beginning of the article. It says, after 30 committee meetings, the PGA Tour's future competition committee still hasn't resolved what the 2027 schedule will look like. This analysis reveals why the economics don't support the Tour's ambitions. And this article says, by analyzing nonprofit disclosures, media markets, revenue trends, and sponsor longevity for the 20 tournaments that publish financials, we identify which events can thrive in a restructured tour and which cannot. The finding: fewer than 7 tournaments currently meet the criteria for sustainable signature events. This was getting circulated in the bot part of the world as well as on the
BOT,
BOT, as well as the journalistic side. I reached out to a lot of different people on this Sunday of like just for a reaction on this, and a lot of different walks of people that work on the buy side, and that are involved in PGA Tour events. people that work for with the tour, people that used to work with the tour, like, hey, just heat check this one. What's going on here? And the answer was pretty unanimous of like, yeah, this is horribly incomplete. This is not very good analysis at all. It's a wild conclusion to reach without looking at the top level finances of the PGA Tour at all as well. Just kind of looking at individual 990s of individual events, which there's weird accounting in professional golf and how media rights deals work and all that stuff is like you couldn't project what the model looks like just by looking at individual tournament 990s. It might be an unsustainable model to my knowledge. I would be very surprised if some very serious people got involved in the tour and built an unsustainable model. But if that is whatever the case is, the conclusions reached in this article were bad. It was tough, and we've cited Money in Sport in the past, and I kind of maybe regret doing that because I was kind of trusting them a bit more than I do now after having read that one.
Yeah, it's not very well sourced. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I mean, what did Denny Cash have to say?
Well, I'm bringing this up because it is an idea for a future Denny Cash episode. Please reach out to me. You can always reach out, soly@nolayingup.com if you're ever curious for the next kind of finances tackle that we'll do in that world, because those episodes have been well received.
Is this you telling Denny to reach out to you, or
potentially? Yeah, I haven't heard from Denny since the latest episode went out, but Denny's of course worked in this part of the world. He could tell us exactly how this stuff works. It is complicated. It's very complicated, but at the same time, the tour has an overarching massive media deal that helps fund a lot of purses, and it's not like it made it sound like the tour is reaching into their coffers to top up all these tournaments, and that's just it's not that. It's a lot more complicated than it's not that simple. So, anyways, anything else from the tour side, TC?
Jerry Tarde had an outrageous column over at Golf Digest. There's some doozies in there. His quote, his message was consistent and strong, and I'm rooting for him, but I wish he played golf. My first impression was that he should dress better.
Who's he
He's
talking about?
Brian Rollout.
Okay.
Armani it up a little bit, although I think he likes playing the role of scrappy everyman who will outwork you to the end zone. That was his reputation at the NFL, where he was known for his intelligence, strategic vision, and relentless pursuit of ever higher media rights. He's analytical, patient, and unemotional. And it's like, all right, like all that's true, but I wish the guy dressed better, because it's just like it's one of the most outrageous. Just go read it. It's funny. So
we can link it in the show notes here as well. So.
Otherwise, I saw Wyndham parted ways with his longtime caddy John Ellis. So we'll see kind of which direction he goes from here. And then just looking ahead to Houston. Scotty, like you said, teeing it up this week. Mason Howell is in the field on a sponsor exemption as well. So curious to see him playing at Memorial Park, which, as you all know, slaps.
The first of two times we'll get to see Memorial Park.
Yeah.
Now women going there.
Soly
The overseed,
like
though. Well,
Solid.
I'm struggling to marry last year's result, which was just bomb it anywhere. Chris Goddard saying in Chasing Sunday, I can hit it anywhere at Houston with it slapping TC. I think it did before the overseed, though.
Maybe they've adjusted their overseed program this year.
Maybe
the greens will be more spicy.
We'll find out.
So
we'll get back to that overseed there here in a second.
Can we talk LPGA?
We can. Now is the time, though, to visit Pinehurst Resort at the cradle of American golf. Pinehurst is more than fame number 2, an anchor site for the U.S. Open. It is Tom Doak's masterful number 10, 4 historic hotels and newly built luxury cottages at Pinehurst number 8, the one-of-a-kind Titleist shop at Pinehurst and the new Peter Millar shop, a trio of dynamic dining experiences in Station 21, Plate, and the upcoming Wiregrass. Pinehurst blends timeless charm with the very best in the game today. Visit pinehurst.com to plan your stay. TC, we were at Pinehurst a year ago this week. All that was popping up on my phone, and I was just a little gutted, man. I miss Pinehurst in spring. It was always such a great trip that we've done there. Yeah. Pinehurst.com to plan your stay.
I think they should call that Doak course Pinehurst X.
The disease.
I think that one's only going to keep getting better as it keeps growing in. And then we're going up later this year to see number 11 as well. The new Core Crenshaw joint, which looks intimate and spectacular thus far. So,
Randy, you want to take us on a little play-by-play from the Founders this past weekend?
Yeah, sure. Founders, listen, important event on the LPGA Tour. It honors the original 13 founding members. We've talked about it in years past, but I really dig the idea behind this tournament. I think it should be one of the bigger week-to-week events on this tour. And they finally got back to a course that I think was worthy of hosting this event. If you'll remember a few years back, they were up in the Northeast, Montclair Country Club, and then they lost that and they were out in Arizona last year, and that stunk. But I was
Went to what, Mountain Ridge too, I think, in
they were
New
Mountain
Jersey
Ridge
at one point.
before Montclair. Yeah. So I want to talk about Sharon Heights, but let's do a little play-by-play. Hyoju Kim won the tournament. It ended up being a duel. Her and Nelly Korda. Hyoju entered the day 5 shots up on Nelly. They were playing together in the final group. Nelly went on a run in the first 9. Both she and Hyoju bogeyed the second, but then Nelly ripped off birdies on 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and then got one on 10. And at that point, we had a tie ball game because Hyoju was just kind of spinning her wheels. She made a couple birdies on the front 9, but then bogeyed 8. And so, guys, we get to 13, and this is kind of where I want to really pick up the play-by-play. If anybody wasn't watching, wild turn of events. 13 is a par 3, kind of almost a bowl, like definitely a feeder pin off of a back bowl just beyond the pin, and it was playing, I think, like 187. They were saying on TV. And so it was, the women were hitting mid irons to hybrids. I think Hyoju hit, I don't know if it was a wood or a hybrid, but she kind of tugged it and it ended up going long, and it ran up the bank and then all the way to the 14th tee box. So she didn't get any of the slope advantage, kind of funneling it back to the pin. It left her in a very, very tricky spot where she took a lob wedge and was having to contend with that same downhill that she failed to use off the tee. She hits this little flopper wedge on the green. This thing has speed. Like I think, guys, it's going off the green, right? Like it's bogey at best, but it hits the middle of the flag stick, ricochets to about 4 or 5 feet, and she's able to make that par putt. And in hindsight, I think this is where she wins the tournament, because she would go on 14. Nelly hits it inside of her. It's a par 4. Hyoju has, what are we going to call it, Soly? 25 feet for birdie with some break, and she cans it, and Nelly misses her putt. And so between the huge break off the flagstick on 13 and then making the birdie on 14, she would never relinquish this lead. Nelly tried to run her down.
She did run her down.
Yeah.
Then she
Well, she
bottled
had
it.
run her down,
Yeah.
but after that, she didn't, right? Or am I missing?
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like she did. She just forgot to make the 2-footer.
Well, then we get to 17, where Nelly is trailing by just a single shot again. And again, Hyoju was in a tough spot, but gets
really
up and
tough
down.
spot. Long of the green, over a hill,
backed up.
tons of rough behind the ball, pitches up tight. Like, it was an awesome shot.
Yeah. Nelly ends up missing like an 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot putt.
It was 3 to 4 probably. I mean, she was out. She was out away from HJ.
Morgan said it was 2. I think it was probably 3. It was probably
Okay. I'll
meet
you
you
there.
It wasn't a gimme. Let's put a coin on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it was certainly a putt that
Bad
she
putt.
needs to make. And so she drops a shot there. She falls 2 shots behind with that bogey. The 18th is a par 5. Kim hits it into the bunker, which kind of takes, is a big door opening.
Up against the
so
lip.
like where she's kind of got to splash out.
Didier Shook took 3 shots to get out of that bunker earlier.
And so you're thinking, like, Nelly, like you have the firepower to get home in 2, like maybe make eagle. Like, this is okay. We got a chance now. And then Nelly follows her up with a fairway wood right into that same bunker. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here?
It was it wasn't driver.
No, it was 3 wood. Or
it was 3 wood for Nelly. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt like driver probably easily gets past that, I would think.
It probably like
Um,
lands where the bunk, it's like, I'm sure, I don't know what she was thinking, honestly. It's
it
probably
just
landing like where the bunker is, but yeah, it would have rolled out a ton. Nelly gets out. She's further back away from the lip. So she hits her third, just behind the green. And she's like barely on the fringe. She ends up chipping, has to make it, does not make it. So HJ, she's splashed out. She's on the green. She ends up having the two putt from about 5.5 feet. She does miss the first one just to keep things a little interesting, but taps in for a bogey, wins by a stroke. She finishes 16 under, Nelly 15 under. But guys, we got a fun duel. I think that's the big takeaway. The golf course, I think there are three big takeaways for me. One, we got a fun duel between two like world-class players. Obviously, Nelly being involved is always great for everybody. I thought the golf course was a really good surprise, and I want to ask you guys about the golf course and your reactions. And then it was a real first look at this enhanced LPGA Tour broadcast, and I think I I think it's indisputable that it's a better production than what we've seen the last, several years in these week to week events, right? Better cameras, more cameras, drones that really showed the scale, the slopes of Sharon Heights Golf Club. A lot more TrackMan. They have a partnership with TrackMan, so a lot more tracers, some ball data, ball speed, apex heights. They were flashing some heat maps of the
heat maps
greens
are sick.
late in the day, kind of showing the slopes there.
We don't even get
So
that on PGA Tour broadcasts.
yeah. So yeah, Soly, I'll throw it back to you. Do we want to start with Sharon Heights, the broadcast?
Yeah,
But
I think it all works
it was
together.
a fun afternoon
Yeah,
on the LPGA.
it all works
Tour.
together. It was in prime time. It was Drew in our Slack said it great. He's like, makes me want to play golf. Like it did. I was like, it brought everything alive. So what I don't like about watching LPGA Tour sometimes is it can feel like a putting contest where you're just watching putts on repeat and you're just watching shots from the fairway from behind the green,
100%.
and it's just like there's no context for any of the shots. There's no story building of how the holes are playing, and combining the drones with some handheld cameras and some firmness in the golf course. Like it was a fun golf course combined with new angles, and watching it was like watching a duel on it was great. Of every shot, there was an advantage to playing in certain parts of the fairway. It wasn't a brilliant golf course, but there was just some wrinkles in it that made it all interesting, and sprinkling in a little bit of drone footage just to show how dramatic the landscape is and what you're playing over, and how like just the attention to detail and all those bunkers, how firm it played. It just it looked like somebody gave a shit, man. And I do not walk away from watching LPGA
That's
Tour
all we've
saying
been
that.
asking for.
Right. And it's like you were capable of this. And I know FM has really stepped up to improve the coverage. And we had a great interview with Craig Kessler, the LPGA Tour commissioner, this past week. And they were saying a lot of great things. I was nervous about how good it would look this early on. And it's not groundbreaking. It's not like this jumps the LPGA Tour straight to the top of must-see TV, but it levels the playing field better. It just, you're not watching a serious dip in quality now of an actual telecast. Gets me. It's way easier to get invested in a storyline unfolding. Just little things like they got little like player intros that pop up now. And it was 3 fun facts about Nelly that I'd never heard before. It's just like her coffee order, her superstition. And I forget what the other one was, but it was just like, oh,
Favorite hobby, which is needle pointing.
Needlepoint. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little extra layer on things. I'm rambling here, but they did a great interview and a great dive in with Natasha Andrea Un on Friday, and documenting like her journey to get to the LPGA Tour. Like they paused the golf for a little too long and just interviewed her for like 10 straight minutes. Like they could have done a little bit of both. I'm being picky, but it was just, they got player caddy combos. They got like the boom mic guys are getting aggressive out there. And I like, dude, get in trouble. Like go mess some things up, do some things differently. I feel like they are, they're on I feel like they're really backing up all the things they said of this thing's going to be dramatically improved, and I'm excited about it.
TC.
Yeah, I thought like
Sorry, I
the
took up like 8 things there, TC,
no,
but
it's all
I
right.
was jazzed.
No, it's. I mean, shit. When have we ever had this problem before with an LPGA broadcast? I think the drone stuff brought that course to life, like with all the, like, you know, the ninth hole's great. There's like, I don't know, I thought the setup was good. Like they made him hit really like real shots down the stretch, which isn't always the case at an LPGA event. The greens were
That's
firm. The place firmed up like crazy.
Tee
They didn't
shots
throw a
were all
bunch of water
interesting
on it.
because
Yeah,
the
there was
camber,
no
yeah.
yeah, there was there was no intermediate cut. It just went straight from
Yeah.
like a, 10% grade fairway to, so like start lines were super important off the tee.
And shape.
Shaping the ball into slopes was important. Ball was, like I felt like we were watching the ball run out a lot. Like the ball was on the ground, whether it was, and like great penultimate hole, 17th hole there. Going back, like even like Hugo had a really good up and down, or like really good par putt, I think on 16, to kind of like walked it in, and like it was a producer's dream in that it was a duel. There was two players that were involved from, like, say Young Kim made a little bit of noise, but like otherwise it was a two-horse race for the better part of the day, from for 12
Really
to
like their
14
whole
holes left.
broadcast window.
Yeah.
It was
And
like,
they
it's gonna be
they got
these two.
preempted a little bit by the olds out at the Colo Guard. They went to a playoff, and then they gave us a little tease, and then they went back to the playoff, where
Yeah.
when Alker won. But I thought, yeah, I mean, all the stuff you said, Soly, and yeah, it's just like a dream of like Nelly charging, damn near birdies 6 or 7 holes in a row, like even on, what was that, 8 or 9, like she didn't birdie it, but she had a good look at it.
8,
And
yeah.
then, yeah, and then like it wasn't great golf down the stretch, but it was really entertaining, interesting golf, and it was topsy-turvy. But man, I just wish, like, I feel like we're getting more emphasis and more oomph on the production value, but it still feels like the same talent
If you
and
close your eyes, it's the
commentary.
same exact
Yes.
broadcast as years prior. So I was going to say a couple nits to pick, I guess. Oh, let me start here, Soly. I think you made a great point about like this event last year was at a nondescript desert course.
Yep.
And you would have tuned in and you would have seen just, okay, hit fairway, hit green, ball's not really moving. Like, and this is a credit to the golf course, TC. Like you said, the ball was moving on the ground much more so than your typical LPGA kind of week to week venue, I think, produces. And so you just inherently have interest there. The slopes, working balls back to the pins. If you miss the slope, you're kind of working away. Fantastic. I'm with you.
Also,
I thought,
Randy, like, just on that note too, like the club clearly supported the tournament, like club and the surrounding area, good crowds. Recent renovation of the club, like I think they spent $23 million. It shows, like it's a cool spot, cool trees, cool. Like that's what, like when I tune into prime
felt like
time
you were in
golf,
NorCal. Like
that's
like,
what I want to see. Like there was a sense of place, and it kind of transported me there versus, and like that's the thing. Like give me prime time, LPGA golf, there in from 6 to 9 p.m. or 7 to 10 p.m. if we get later in the year. Like give me that more often on interesting golf courses that the men can't go to. Like sign me up. That's the recipe, at least 4 weeks a year.
I think to Randy's point, like all this beefed up coverage wouldn't have hit the same if they were at a
Totally.
dog shit course in Arizona again,
Yeah.
I think this enhanced production deserves an infusion of energy into the broadcast, into the people on the broadcast. And I thought there was kind of a starkness to, wow, I'm seeing this whole new broadcast, but if I close my eyes, it sounds like every old, I like, guys, Morgan Pressel is not it for me. And I don't necessarily want to like pick on her, but I just don't think she does a great job. I think she's pretty flat and monotone. I don't think she like builds energy for the viewer. I don't even think she like gives that great of insights most of the time. I think it's pretty just stock, like, oh yeah, no, like you said kind of what we were all thinking. I would switch that chair up if I were in charge of the broadcast. I just wish we could marry this production with like a refreshed team of talent and bring those things together, and then let's really kind of set sail on a new chapter in televising women's golf. And I'm sure there are contracts. And so I would love to touch on the interview you did with Craig Kessler, because I think some of this stuff ties in there. Just any kind of thoughts after the episode ran and anything that's been in your head. But that's one thing that sticks out. And then two, because it was a duel, and the good news is we're going to be back at this course for the Founders, at least for the next 2 years. I would have liked to see just a little bit more like flyovers. Talk to me about what these holes are. Where are the best places to like fit your drive? Where are the good
Steal
angles?
this from LIV. Have a player. The LIV has done this where they have a player voice over the hole and talk about the strategy that goes into it. Like, do that. You don't need to be original here. Do that idea. Like, that's a great. You want to get your player personalities out there and a little bit of course documentation there. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the commentary feels like a bad impression of a pro golf broadcast.
It feels like the bare minimum to me. And I
stuff,
feel like,
and like Morgan, like there were like a dozen times today where like what she said was just like flat out wrong. Like the ball ended up in a different place than, like, I don't know if just that's not showing up on her monitor or whatever, but it's just, and then I think like with Grant and Morgan and Karen in the booth, it just feels like 1 + 1 + 1 equals like 1.5. I feel like Karen, it's not the best version of Karen because she doesn't really know what her role is there. Like there's just too much going on. So yeah, all that to say, like I would Mel Reed just we need just a rethink on the commentary.
So yeah, so can we?
Well, I'd like
anything
to.
add?
I was just going to throw out, like, it's clear from talking to Craig, both, on the air and off the air, and like talking to Chad, like they've put a lot of ideas into play very quickly. They've taken a lot of action very quickly. And I'm like, they're listening to feedback. So like you mentioned the commentary change there, but like, what else would you put on your list of, like, if they're listening to what people are saying of what they want out of LPGA Tour golf, what's next up on your list? Like, what are you going to next to say, like, let's tackle this?
I'm really curious how they're able to handle showing more players across a golf course. I think that's one thing that I did not necessarily get answered, and they did not need to. This was a duel all day today. But I think in the past where we've seen LPGA broadcast struggle is like they have a very small amount of cameras out there. And so I think there will be a time, hopefully sooner than later, where it's like, hey, this is a wide open tournament. We got players making charges. Like, let's show a lot of golf shots from across the golf course, and not just you're like, this is the tower shot of a ball landing, or we cut to somebody making the birdie putt, right? Like I want to see more building the drama, showing us what's going on in the tournament. That would be one thing. I am really curious. I don't have a great answer, except for like maybe the NFL films people can come out once or twice a year. But like, I know Craig, as he mentioned in your podcast with him, Soly, which everybody should listen to. If you missed the podcast that you and Cody did with Craig, I thought he was great. But I know one of his pillars is we have to tell the stories of these athletes. We have to get people invested in who they're seeing on the television screen. And so just flashing the little like facts about people today, like, yeah, that's a nice thing. But I'm just curious what maybe they have in mind to those ends. Is it, and I'll say like a big part of it is like, just get the boom mics, get the player caddy combos, like pick up audio on the golf course. I think goes a long way. So we'll be curious what that entails. And then I just think the big thing for me that is going to play a big role in all of this is, I hope it's next year. Like, they're going to have to really, really, really remake the schedule and rethink the schedule. And I think that's the elephant in the room right now is like, what is that going to look like? And right now they're playing tournaments January to Thanksgiving in November. And it's like, that's too long of a season. I'm really, I can't wait to see what this reimagined schedule and season looks like, I guess would be my overarching thing.
Yeah, I think my stuff is mainly around setup, which we saw a better setup this week, and some of that's because they're on a good golf course, but also they did allow it to dry out, and they did put pins in. Like on Thursday, I remember firing it up and seeing the pin on, it was the 9th hole, like tucked right behind this bunker. I was like, "Whoa, that's different."
Yeah.
Like, you gotta hit a shot to get it back there. And I feel like it definitely allowed for more separation this week, like on the leaderboard. And what 15, 16, 17 under par, like it was out there. Like there were plenty of birdies out there, but there were consequences and bogeys to be had as well, which is, it just felt consequential. I think on the schedule front, Randy, that's where I go to immediately. And I know this is easier said than done, but I think the West Coast thing this time of year is a no-brainer. Like I keep coming back to like Chambers Bay and like watching, like granted that would have to be later in the year, but like watching the US Am at Chambers Bay a couple of years ago, or the US Women's Am at Chambers Bay was awesome, right? Like give me that. Or I don't know, I watched like the Western Intercollegiate at Pasatiempo. Give me like a LPGA match play made for TV at Pasatiempo,
The golf sickos would, I mean, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, and like I feel like
Awesome.
you're kind of leaning in on like, all right, it's like it's kind of appointment viewing, right? You're kind of
Yeah.
proving to people. I think there's a lot of like, and I know it's like it's easier said than done up east with a lot of country clubs. It's a shorter season, and like they don't want to host pro golf, men or women, right? It's just they don't want to give up their courses. So I think some of these having some like founders that bounce around a little bit is awesome. I think they should go to the park in West Palm. I think that place would be killer for it. Like you start the season there. You have a big Florida event there. A lot of ladies live in that area anyway. Weather's good this time of year. It would play fast and firm, and like that place was made for this style of golf. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think the pie in the sky would be. I think that they should throw up a Hail Mary and say, all right, once out of the next 5 to 10 years, PGA Tour, let us come host a ladies event at TPC Sawgrass.
Yeah.
And I know that gets complicated with Optum and Comcast Business and Morgan Stanley are the proud partners, and figure it out.
Figure it out, guys.
Do piggyback the weeks or something if you. But I'll just make the point: Sawgrass and Augusta are the only 2 courses in golf that we get to see the men that we don't see the women at, and those are 2 courses I would love to see the women. I think Soly, I missed one thing, and this has been like they have to have better. One, we got to do a better website and we got to do a better app. Like I cannot tell you how frustrated I am opening the LPGA app and it asks me to either sign in and continue as a guest every single time. Like Craig, Chad, if you're listening, that is fucking ridiculous. Like fix that tomorrow. Just take me to the main page. I know we're on the right path with TrackMan and being able to collect better information, but we just got to be able to tell. We got to have the stats available, the data available to tell better stories of what's actually happening. Because I think that's you can only get so far talking about the human interest stuff. At some point, you got to marry it with like, okay, what's their skill or what's their weakness? What do we have to get better at? Like we have to very objectively know what we're watching.
Randy, perfect example today. Like
Yeah.
Nelly had she made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She made 6 birdies and had 32 putts. I would love to be able to dig a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah. Right. Right. And I get that they're doing the KPMG, but it's still just like caddy's eye and stuff. Like they have to have shot link data
don't get what
someday.
Gun the putts. It's one thing for all the balls in play. I use the shot link or the caddy data for tees and greens and everything works fine, but just being able to whatever that maybe I'll put that on my list. And I would just say continuing to zoom in on just making the broadcast more and more intimate. Like they did great jobs with player caddy combos and low handheld cameras in fairways to show off layers and things, but just the more you can make it zoom in there. I want players telling camera crews to back up. All right. Like the guy got like on the green filming Nelly when she was staying on the sprinkler on whatever hole that was. Like I was like, what is that camera guy's getting in there? Oh, he's documenting she's staying on the sprinkler head. Like I want to see them keep getting aggressive and keep leaning into ways you can make things a little bit different and just do not be afraid to try a single thing. Just the way their social is already changed a lot of just like the way they introduced us to Natasha Andrea Oon this week was super interesting. Her like a little 45-second mashup of her press conference they did of just the weird, crazy shit she was saying all over the place was just like, oh, okay, this person's got personality. It might not, I might be a little, this might be a little like young for my generation, but like, all right, this is an easy person to root for. Keep doing that, and it's gonna continue to improve. So great first step, and it help keep obviously the venues and the schedule is paramount, like way more important than anything else.
And then I feel like next week we're gonna have a step back next week at the Arizona event. But then very curious to see how they set up Shadow Creek in a few weeks.
Oh, Shadow Creek is sweet.
Yeah.
And that place can be
so hard the last couple
of
years.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Back to the golf, Hyoju Kim winning with so much less in the tool category than Nelly Korda has, of like watching Nelly backspin one into the par 3 17th with like a 9-iron. And I know Hyoju kind of pulled it and hit a hot Carl, but like she wasn't even close to be able to hold that green. Gets it up and down just to watch Nelly 3-putt. Like watching, it seemed like she hit so many bad shots and she shoots like 17 under par and wins it. Like it's just a really wildly impressive scrambling ability and short game. I don't think, like, I swear she was not anywhere off from 141 or 142 ball speed on any drivers I saw today. It's the exact same, like almost every single time. And I just have so much respect for it because it's just, she's so scrappy and so tough and just not someone I would want to be locked into a duel with.
I was joking with my wife was watching with me, and I was like, God, I wish we had like live whoop data on Hyoju, because I swear like her heart rate wouldn't get above 80. Like Cody and I got to do the pro-am at the AIG Women's Open last year, and she is like just so chill, so even keeled. And I think her personality reflects in her golf game, Soly, to your point, where it's just so steady, so consistent. Like when she's on, she's just like she's just flushing it. She's hitting it properly, and then she's got a good enough short game. When she's making putts, it's like, yeah, she's a top 10 player in the world. Like that's the formula. She just doesn't seem to get bothered by anything. And so even when you have Nelly mounting this charge, and Nelly can do some things with the ball and the clubs that she can't, it's just Hyoju went about her business, got a great break on 13 and parlayed it into a win. I love the contrast, I guess, a little bit. I thought that's partly what made this duel interesting, was like you had a real contrast in playing style, personality, and popularity for an American audience.
I think what did you guys make of Gino? Just final round 73.
TC, I'm glad you asked. I was pissed at Gino. I was settling in. I knew I was watching this final round. I was looking forward to it. I perused my here in Colorado, I saw Gino was even money to finish top 5. I said, oh my God, give me that all day. And she goes out and shoots a freaking 73.
Bogeyed her first 2 holes.
Send her some DMs, big.
I know. I think it seemed like just slop. She just seemed not on it. Just sloppy. I think that the question we want to see Gino answer is, when the ball rolls a lot on the ground, can she be the best player in the world? Or does she need it soft and scoreable? And yeah, I think this was an interesting data point to that end, TC.
People seem to be coming around.
Well, that brings me to our next question. We're about 1 month out from the first major of the year. Of course, there's 5 majors on the women's side. I couldn't figure out a non-confusing way to word this one as well. But like, you get to name, you can try to pick the major winners for this year. We're not going to try to match them up with the actual majors, all right? But if you had to pick 5 players to win majors this year, and if if one of your players wins multiple majors, that counts as well. But you get 5 players to cover the board on the LPGA Tour this season, or like assume that there's a different winner for every one. Who would your 5 major winners be if you had to try to pick to get as many points as possible for this year? Randy, I'll start with you.
All right. I mean, I guess I'd be shocked if I got to take Gino and I got to take Nelly.
Yeah.
I'm just putting those 2 on the board. And I think after that it gets a little interesting. I think Hannah Green is somebody, and I know TC, we're going to mention she won the Australian Women's PGA, her 3rd win in 3 starts across both the LPGA and the LET. I only think Hannah gets more interesting because they're going back to Hazeltine, which is where she won her women's KPMG PGA Championship. So yeah, give me Hannah Green. I think she's been knocking at the door for the last couple of years. She has leveled up her game. And I'll just say, let me just make a sidebar. Talking about HJ and now like this exercise, this is where I get frustrated with the lack of stats. Like it would be so much more compelling if we had a treasure trove of just real stats that we could
data
consider.
boy.
Yeah. So give me Hannah. I'm going to take, I always feel good about Minjee Lee winning a major. That was my 4th. And then for my 5th, I was thinking I need a Japanese player. I'm going to go with one of the EYs, and I picked Chisato EY for my 5th.
TC, what's your 5?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go
Did you prepare this, or do you need
time?
time?
I did. No, I did. I'm just, Randy's in my head now. Yeah, we got Hannah Green. She's got her husband Jared on the bag. She's like she's winning everything in sight, but I don't know if we're going. I don't know. I think Lytham's going to be really interesting. I think Lytham's going to be a fascinating test. It's like one of the tournaments I'm most excited for this year. But I'm going to go with Angel Yin.
Okay.
I think she wins Hazeltine.
Interesting.
Great course
Love
for
that.
her.
Yeah.
Soly, we played with her at
We played with her.
Hazeltine, and I just can't get that out of my head of like she's just tailor-made for that course. I've got Minjee as well. I think Minjee wins something like Riviera. I've got Lottie Woad. Lottie's going to win a major.
Would love it. Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked if she won a couple.
Gave her consideration.
I've got Rio Takeda winning a major. And then I've got Miyu Yamashita as well. So I've got two Japanese.
No Nelly, no
players.
Gino.
No Nelly, no Gino.
Interesting.
Good on you, TC, truly, because I thought I was, when I saw Soly's question, I'm like, why don't we just make it 3? Well, I'll take Nelly and Gino, but good on you for bucking that.
And I thought about Lydia, but I don't know. I don't know where Lydia's head's at, right? She feels like she's kind of got one foot out the door.
The one I struggle with, and Soly, I know I'll set you up here for your 5, but one, like picking the right Japanese woman, and then Ronnie Yin, I didn't know what to do with because she hasn't been playing great golf. But Soly, give us your 5. Who do you have?
Well, yeah, I don't have a Japanese woman that feels off, but it was mostly because I couldn't decide on which one to pick. I've got Gino. I got Nelly at Chevron. That was going to be my thing of like the overseed though, and it being, it played well for distance. On the men's side last year, it makes me think this could be a gas pedal event for Nelly. I think that this should be circled on her calendar. Like, should be a very, very, very good course fit for her. I got Hannah as well. I got Minjee Lee, and I got Lottie Woad. So mine is a makeup between your 2 lists. This was a little harder to do than I thought it would be. I thought I was going to get a little further down the board, but I've pretty much on it that I think Gino wins one this year. The Nelly Chevron matchup is what, if Nelly doesn't win Chevron, I think that one could miss quite easily. And then it's hard not to picture Hannah Green winning one. And people maybe sleeping a little bit on Lottie Woad, just a little bit, just been a little quiet lately. And then Minjee, just 4th major is a lot. That'd be a lot. But there's just once it gets into that hard U.S. Women's Open, hard KPMG Women's PGA, Lytham, and then we've seen her have success, of course, at Evian as well. Like, it's just hard not to take her to win one.
I'm fascinated to see how they set up Riviera, because you got the Kikuya around the greens. You can't run it up like that. You know, the fourth hole. Like, how are they going to set that up? How far up are they going to move the tees? Otherwise, nobody's going to hold the green.
I thought Minji at Riviera. That was the one I was kind of like, when it gets tough, I like Minji. I think we're probably all missing, and I don't know who it is, but like not having a Korean winner feels like a very big miss. I absolutely, you know, I know I'm not going on a limb, but certainly a Korean woman could win at least one major this year.
There's only 2 Korean women in the top 10 in the world right now, which is
is it Hyoju and Haedon Ryu?
Hyoju and Saeyoung Kim.
Oh, Saeyoung. Okay.
Haedon's 13th.
Interesting. She slipped. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 4 in the top 20. There's twice as many Japanese ladies. So
I also really wanted to pick Charlie Hall, but like to actually win one, I'm gonna have to see it.
I was headed that way, and I looked at it. I was like, I don't think so. I just don't. Got a lot of runner-ups, but not consistent major performance in there.
Soly, I really like this segment. I think maybe before Chevron, we need another segment like this, picking 5. Like, let's throw 5 would-be first-time major winners on the board. Okay.
Does Rose,
then we can prospect a bit.
Does Rose Zhang win a LPGA event this year?
I'll say she does.
That's hard to say yes to that right now.
We're coming up on 2 years since she's won one.
We just gotta get school. We gotta get the school stuff out of the way, and then I gotta talk to some people, figure out if she's like healthy. There's some things we gotta figure out there. But
yeah, and Randy, you know, it hurt me to not pick Lynn Grant to win a major this year.
That's Swedish. I know that was the other kind of country.
Randy, I'm just seeing the NLU. I want to go put these in the NLU record. Last year, you predicted a win in 5, a major and 5 worldwide wins for Gino. She won 3 times last year.
Hold on. No, are you counting
4?
The Lady Saudi?
No, she won 4. She won 4 times, but no major.
She was a Grace Kim Chip-in from that being exactly right.
That was a great call.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're exactly right. All right, we're going to get canceled online for waiting an hour and 40 minutes to get to TC's favorite event, LIV South Africa. Bryson DeChambeau beat Jon Rahm in a 1-hole playoff. Just what a moment. One of the most profound moments in golf history. I was reading about it online this morning. Just a truly outrageous, never seen before. We'll get to the tweets to go through, but the golf tournament, it was a very good finish this morning. It was very, very, very wet. I didn't get to watch much until I watched the 18th hole and then into the playoff. But people were a certain group of people were extremely jazzed up about getting Bryson Rahm this morning.
And Rahm, one of your quote unquote dudes, got beat by Bryson, who was allegedly not a dude, in your opinion.
He's not yet been officially crowned a dude. Correct. There's only been 3 guys that have been crowned.
Once you're a dude, can you fall out of dudedom?
So that was another thing we haven't really gone through. It's like it's kind of how I'm viewing this is when you put somebody in the dude category, it's at least a year-long commitment. Like you are committing to like that. From that point, that person is going to be here a year from now, still being like a dude in these tournaments.
Rahm hasn't.
Rahm has been there for like 7 years. No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He's the buoy. Like everybody says that about him. He's the buoy. He doesn't like have serious dips in his play. He's a dude. He's just always there. But like, he's won recently. Like Rahm is. Do you agree that Rahm's a better golfer than Bryson?
Yeah, I mean, it's the similar
this is a side conversation from the South Africa stuff, but yes,
yeah, we're gonna get off of this. I don't know. There's certain things. Yeah, I don't know. Some of it comes back to like you're essentially making the same argument that I make for Tommy sometimes.
Absolutely, I'm not. Jon Rahm has won 2 major championships. TC. Tommy's
I'm saying over the last couple of years, Rahm hasn't won much.
He hasn't won much since he's gone to LIV. Correct.
Like he hasn't even won much on LIV, which is crazy.
I know. He's still like there. He's still playing very consistent golf worldwide. Like the floor is extremely high with Rahm. That part does not go away. Is my overall point of why he's a dude.
Anyway, I don't know. I think Bryson's ceiling needs to be recognized.
It's extremely high. Bryson has a very, very high ceiling.
So okay.
I think Xander's next up in nomination before Bryson is a point that we can table that conversation. We'll get there.
2-time U.S. Open. I kind of think you're underselling Bryson.
One's a COVID one at Winged Foot. Like that.
The other one was like mano against Rory at Pinehurst on a fantastic.
And Xander won 2 majors that year. So
read the tweets.
The tweets were from the early part of the week. Arlo White had a tweet that says, if you could shape your opinions with a broad view of the wider world and not a myopic and self-serving obsession with a single nation's dominance of an entire sport, then it's just obvious that tournaments like this are fantastic for capital G golf and for a country like South Africa. That was from Arlo White. Luke Elvey was very online this week. He said, I'm never acknowledging another person who says LIV golf is meaningless. The league is doing more to grow the game globally than anything or anyone else right now. And all your hate towards it won't change that fact. Change is happening in real time. He would also go on to say, probably an unpopular opinion, but it'd be great if Golf Channel had a 1-hour highlight show to recap the day's play at LIV Golf. Essentially, when the event is in a hard time zone for North America, or those who complain they can't watch some of their favorite players anymore. Yeah, that I'm sure that they're going to get right around to that one. He also said, if you've been an advocate for a united global tour like me, listen to the joy and emotion Burmese golf speaks with. If you still believe all the best golf in the world should only play in America, then unfollow me now. You are the problem.
It's a shame that like LIV refuses to go to Chile, right? Like they refuse to go to Waco's home country. They refuse to go to Argentina. They refuse to go to these.
Got to get to New Orleans, man.
Various corners of the world.
World's golf tour,
is totally underserved.
I'll say the same. It's the same conversation after Adelaide. It is very clear that there is a market for this level of golf in South Africa. They had massive crowds this week, 100,000 people there. Like the report, the vibe was incredible. People were seriously into it. It's still the same conversation to me. It is not. Here's the part that gets where I'm at on this is like, for everything that anyone involved with this league has to make it about the PGA Tour. Like everything they do has to be about the PGA Tour. Like you're missing, like just every comment about it is just laced with like, you guys are idiots for missing out on this. And there's no awareness at all that we have given this a shot. We have looked into it. We've watched it from afar, from a competitive golf. It's not why I love golf. Like it's not as a competitive enough product that it's where my interest goes in golf. That's why I think Rahm should not be playing there. That's why I think Bryson should not be playing there. I don't think Cam Smith should be playing there. Neiman, Hatton, those guys belong on the best golf tour in the world. That's what I like about golf, like the most competition. Some people like music while you're playing it. They like, it's a concert tour. They have concerts at every one of the, like it's a great outdoor event. It's great for people to attend. Every report I've ever heard from people that go to the events say that they're fun. I don't travel the world to go into golf tournaments. I watch a lot of them on television. I have no interest in the television product of this. That's still the same. Like two of these things can be true. It's great to bring some of these events, bring some of these really top level players to these locations. That was always an option in a different world. They didn't do that until they were contracted with Saudi Prince money to go to these places.
Well, some guys do go play Africa's Major or the Joburg Open. But I don't disagree. I think that there's good weeks on LIV, and then I think the bad weeks are like really bad. Really bad.
And this this was a good week for LIV. Like this is again a micro thing. I said the same thing about Adelaide. Micro. Like is that event a good thing for the golf world? Like of course it is. Macro, was it worth blowing up the entire professional golf world for this? Is it worth to have Rahm maybe missing a Ryder Cup, which we could again get to. Is it worth him not being on, playing in the Players? Absolutely not. Like, of course it's not. But that it's not that much more complicated than that. And a lot of the sentiment this week was like, wow, the PGA Tour missed the boat. Like, they really missed the boat, like not taking this thing worldwide, not taking it global. It's like very clearly, like extremely clearly, the corporate interests for the PGA Tour are in America, like extremely clearly. Like, it is not in the PGA Tour's best benefit, like from a selling standpoint and dollar making standpoint, to take their tour on the road and to like operate these massive events at a loss in all these locations like LIV is doing. LIV is a very different model. They have unlimited funding from a Saudi prince, and it's not a real business. So they can afford to do this and make this big scene about it all and make us feel like we're all missing out on it. And like, it's just not a real thing. It was never a real thing. It wasn't a real thing for Rahm. Rahm never went to these places until he was contracted and had to do it. Like, there's probably a reason for that. I'm like, I don't know how else to say that. And nothing that happens on LIV is going to change like the facts of the matter.
God, I love when you get riled up about this. And I just like to, I don't know, it's happening. They'd be far better off just throwing a bunch of money to national opens and standing up a massive.
It could be so much better.
I know, like, yeah, like that's where I think the DP World Tour should just call them up and say, hey, we will bring your money into the ecosystem and give you an off ramp here for LIV. And Soly, I just don't think you like the Crushers either.
Who was my team? Smash. Oh, so it was Smash, but kept
Do you need to retake the quiz?
I might need. No, I thought that was TGL. Is there a LIV quiz too?
There was a LIV quiz too. I think.
Oh
yeah. But I mean, like this was right there for the Southern Guards. Some of the like I read through all the press conference transcripts this week. Just some outrageous stuff in there from all corners. I know the Crushers went off on rollback, various things. Bryson started crying. He had all sorts of just a lot going on, it seems, for him personally. No details there. He paused for a group hug with the Crushers behind the green there. I mean, the Schwartzel couldn't hit a driver down the stretch, and the Southern Guards just completely bottled it. They choked down their legs. They're probably drinking their brandy and Coke tonight.
Bryson's shot in the playoff was absurd. He just dropped it out of muddy, like 320 yards out of the rough, hit it onto the end of their altitude. But it was an insane shot.
I think, gosh, looking elsewhere, David Puig playing good golf right now. Another like T6 for him. Randy, your guy Bond, Honor Bond Lahiri. It's just so weird to see like Bond and Charles Howell, and then like Bryson. Like it's just and then Paul Casey's just there. Mickelson was back this week, just kind of unceremoniously. Blandy T12, pretty good week for my crush or for my cliques. Yeah, they got cliques solo 6th this week, just ahead of the high flyers. Beat Ripper, beat the Aces, beat Smash. Range goats are kind of all over the place. Korean Golf Club is just the dregs this year. They were DFL by 9, but yeah, just some truly outrageous stuff as far as the press conferences. Like, they're just feeding these guys red meat.
Yeah, the paid LIV actual media people asking Bryson, like, how does it feel? Could you believe you're the most popular player in the world right now? It's like, okay, maybe that. Maybe it. Can we do the rollback stuff? Like,
sure.
Bryson was, I don't know what he was asked about it, but he would go on to say, if you want to say that a driver back in 2009 is worse now, I would actually disagree with you on that. I think they're relatively the same and not much has changed. You can change it that much. You can't change it that much with the rules being the way they are.
That's so false.
That's so incredibly false.
The forgiveness on the drivers, like the Titleist GT that I'm gaming, it's so much more forgiving than even the TSR was.
Like, that's documented through robot testing too. Like, that's
crazy.
Just crazy false. And somebody that claims to be a physics major or physicist like wouldn't know that, of course. He says, I think it's a lot more the athletic ability and not being as afraid to go after shots or swing harder or be more aggressive. Let the athletes be athletes and let's go have some fun. Again, try to marry those two things. Like you literally said out loud, not being afraid to go after shots. The equipment's giving you free permission to wail on as hard as you can.
Let's go have some fun. Bryson, what if my idea of fun is different? Like, why do we assume a uniform definition of fun? That's what I never understand.
Here's where I'm about to blow my top, though. This is the worst part of all of it. He said, what are the bodies of golf trying to accomplish? Are they trying to preserve the traditions and history of the game, or are they trying to grow the game? Because those are two different things. They can cross over in some facets, in some regard, but when you're trying to preserve the tradition and the history of the game, yeah, you're going to want to go back to a golf ball that's going shorter because players are more athletic. Yeah, you're going to want to shrink the heads. You're going to want to do this or that. But if you want to grow the game, that's not how you get kids to hit the golf ball farther and enjoy it and want to be a part of this game. They're at a bit of a crossroads right now, and they have to answer those questions. What do these governing bodies really want? If they can answer that, then we can start moving in that direction. But right now, they have to answer that question before us players can get involved, because if they want something different, well, us players may want to make it easier for others like I do.
Soly, are you saying that the governing bodies have not, in fact, answered that question?
Oh my God, Bryson, they have answered this question so many possible ways. In 2002, the joint statement of principles, the RNA and USGA said any further significant increases in hitting distances at the highest level are undesirable. Okay, question answered. Now, if you really want to get specific on this, and I'll try to get through this as fast as I possibly can, Bryson, the Distance Insights Project, February 4th, 2020, the USGA also said, we believe that this continuing cycle of increases is undesirable and detrimental to golf's long-term future for two main reasons. First, the inherent strategic challenge presented by many golf courses can be compromised, especially when those courses have not or cannot become long enough to keep up with increases in the hitting distances of the golfers who play from the longest tees. Increased hitting distance can lead to a reduction in the variety, length, and creativity of shot types needed on such courses, and to holes more often being overpowered by distance, as well as to an increased emphasis on the importance of distance at the expense of accuracy and other skills. This can begin to undermine the core principles that the challenge of golf is about using a broad range of skills and making risk-reward judgments during a round. The result is also that an increasing number of such golf courses, both widely renowned and less well-known, are at risk of becoming less challenging or ultimately obsolete for those who play from their longest tees, a serious loss for the game. Would you like me to continue? That is, could that be any more clear? Could that be any more clear? Second, the overall trend of golf courses becoming longer has its own adverse consequences that ultimately affect golfers at all levels of the game as a whole. Expanding existing golf courses and building longer new ones often requires significant capital investment and higher annual operating costs. Overall, the trend towards longer golf courses puts golf at odds with the growing societal concerns about the use of water, chemicals, and other resources, pressures for developmental restrictions and alternative land use, and the need to mitigate the long-term effects of changing climate and natural environment. We just need to answer these questions. The USGA
Was
has
this
to
the
answer these
second
questions.
week in a row that the Crushers have gone off on rollback, or was this all the stuff from like a week ago?
I thought this was all just this week.
Okay. Maybe it was. I did see Bryson. He got asked. You spoke about the drivable par fours. I know recently you spoke about the 9th hole at Cypress Point being one of your favorite risk-reward holes in all of golf. Bryson said, yeah, it is. Question, I know you potentially have a golf project brewing in California. How much do you think about golf course architecture outside of being a professional golfer and playing golf? How much do you actually think about golf course design? Bryson, you have asked some of the most incredible questions this week. I really appreciate your questions. All three in the front have been amazing. Everybody has been great too. They've done a great job. Yes, I love the drivable par fours, and I am dabbling in some architecture and design. I've already designed a few, waiting for them to get done. I quite honestly think about having 2, potentially 3 drivable holes on each course. I think par 3s are too long nowadays. I think it would be so cool to have a 40 or a 50-yard par 3. Why don't we have that out here? It blows my mind. I think one of the most brilliant things the USGA did at LACC was have that 55-yard par 3. It was like 97
yards.
Yeah. I forgot what hole it was, 15 or something like that. But it was such a brilliant design for that 55-yard shot. I think golf courses should be more like that. There should be at least one hole that's super short that really makes you think. There's consequences to bad wedge shots. Bryson, you need to go down to La Cumbre down in There's a 66-yard par 3 down in Argentina. Also, he says, I think that would also speed up play. I think the game has gotten really long. We don't necessarily need that. Man, I wonder why the game has gotten so long. You need to make the greens a little quirkier and more unique, and the shots a little more quirky and unique. That's what can make golf really fun. As I'm thinking about design moving forward in the future, there's some really cool tricks up my sleeve that I want to apply or try on the golf course when I'm designing. Very excited for that. But yeah, there will always be drivable par 4s on every golf course that I design. Soly, this sounds like a pace of play nightmare.
Oh, this is so horrible idea.
Like wildly tricked up par 3s that you just can't get the ball in the hole on.
Why is nobody doing this? Why? That's a question the USGA needs to answer. They got to again. And you want to talk about grow the game? Just again, a reminder. I believe I have these stats right. Between 2003 and 2018, golf saw a decline of over 6.8 million players and more than 1,200 course closures in that time. COVID brought it back. It is not big head drivers and the ball going far that is making golf thrive. That is just, it was in decline, I think, every single year from 2009 all the way to 2019. If I remember that. I couldn't find the exact stat on that, if I remember right. So again, just a complete false narrative of everything Bryson's getting into. But
golf needs its version of pickleball. Is what I think.
Just siphon off a bunch of people.
Whatever that is, just
Top
go
golf
do it.
Is supposed to be that.
And have a great time, and that's awesome. And if that's what you dig, then more power to you. And then, can we shrink the game and have golf be golf for those that like golf?
Bryson also had another one. There was a question. It's very emotionally draining, your profession, your sport. It's day 1 of 4. Your finish on 18 was electric. What happens now with the rest of your day? How do you decompress? What are the things you do to go through to know that you can do it all again tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Yeah, great question. Personally, for me, I'll go sign some autographs. That actually re-energizes me, makes me feel really good about what we're doing here. That gives me a little bit of life to go practice for a good 30 minutes. And hopefully I figure out the driver real quick. Once we get treated, actually the spa here is unbelievable. So I go into the salt tub and there's like a magnesium tub, just crazy. That helps me relax quite a bit, and I get treatment from our team. You can call him a physio. He's not really a physio, but Ryan treats me and he makes me feel a lot better. And then I'll go relax. I'll probably go watch Pirates of the Caribbean or something tonight. I was watching that last night, so that was fun.
All right, we've got
a Chris Pratt reference. This Chris Pratt quote about, do I want to be somebody else, or do I don't know what I want to be anymore from 2022. I mean, just go read the transcripts. They're insane from this week.
On the DP World Tour, American Jordan Gumberg wins the What About China Henan Classic by 1 over Jorge Campillo. It was a fun. I didn't watch any of it, but the pictures of the golf course were insane. There was some really cool holes out there. But
yeah,
you got 90 seconds to get whatever you want in from this one.
The bullet, Marcus Armitage starting to round into form. Adrio Tagwe with his 3rd top 10 in a row. Tough Sunday for Oklahoma State alum Bo Jin. He totally bottled it. He was kind of in the driver's seat here. Randy, a caddy fell in the water.
I did see that.
Close.
Yeah. DJ said that he was like, man, you were a week early. I was like, damn.
Kita Nakajima straight whiffed one. Like he just straight whiffed a shot out of the fairway. It was crazy. There were underwater.
I think he was
bunkers.
trying to pull off of it. There was a noise. And he tried to
Did it count as a stroke or no?
I don't know if it ended up counting, but it looked as close to a real shot as it possibly could have been.
There were some underwater bunkers.
I did not understand
that over. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. They were marked. I couldn't tell if they were actual hazards or if they gotten a bunch of rain or whatever. And then it's DLF week this week. So P is not in the field, unfortunately. At some point it's gonna have to be reflected in his Fedora 5 ranking. And then Akshay is making the trip, and David Puig is in the field as well. So and then Soly, just a couple other various notes I had. Did you guys see the Jerry Kelly back injury video?
I'm going to start. I have been nominated to start doing that when I have to withdraw with back injuries.
That was great. The drugs just weren't strong enough. He was just gutted to have to leave the Cologuard. Soly, you were quite chuffed by this one. Blocky's son.
Booty cuts.
He's what entered? Was it a
Entered a-
Monday Q or a section?
I don't
event?
know. I just saw he was in a tournament. He goes by his TikTok handle, Pootie Cuts Block.
Booty cuts.
I did get a kick out of that.
That is kind of funny.
The potential great man Harry Hall, it was with his absolute boys. He flew one of his childhood best friends over for the Peaky Blinders premiere in NYC. Just a great aesthetic from him
I love that.
there in New York. What else we got? We got guys. I went down to Highgrove. Crazy Gil Hance, Jim Wagner joint down in kind of west of Lake Okeechobee, south of Sebring. Crazy, kind of like Innisbrooky, and that like you're like, whoa, I'm in Florida. This is like playing on the south edge of the Lake Wales Sand Ridge, and yeah, like through the orange groves and stuff. It was very, very good. So I would anticipate that one hitting the rankings lists here in the next 8 to 12 months.
Thank you, TC. That is going to move us towards wrapping. We have PGA Tours off to Houston this week. LPGA Tour, as mentioned, is headed to Arizona for the Ford Championship. DP World Tour is off to DLF for the Hero Indian Open. LIV is off until the Masters. Get this one. Korn Ferry Tour is back in the States for the Club Car Championship at the Landings Golf and Athletic Club. That is up there for most
good tournament.
most words in a tournament in professional golf. So, gents, did not expect us to go 2 hours tonight, but it's always a treat chatting with you. For TC and Randy, thank you everyone for tuning in. We got a fun Masters pod coming up for you this coming Tuesday. And then we'll, of course, have another recap pod coming up this coming Sunday night. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.
Crack on.